All right. Good evening, everyone. Let's go ahead and get started. Go ahead, close your laptops. You don't need them right now. Let's concentrate over here. Okay. But before I begin the class, a few housekeeping tasks. I want to show you where my videos are loaded. If you already haven't figured it out, if you go to your cohort and then it's under the sessions. So if you go to let me go back to the previous one. Let's say sessions. Okay, and this was our last session. So over here you can see the videos from the previous class. Okay, for today's class, same thing. Go into the session and you should be able to see the videos. Usually I post them by night. It's usually, I mean, I record them on like the best settings, so it's like 8 GB or something once it completes. So it takes a little bit of time. So I go home, upload them by tonight. Usually, the videos are up. Okay, if not tomorrow morning, definitely. All right. So whenever the class ends, it's next morning they should be there. All right. Try to upload them as soon as possible. So that's where you will see those videos. Make sure to mark your attendance every day. Let's see what else did I have. Okay. There's something else, but we'll talk at the end of the class about that. Okay. All right. So take a look around your tables. Make sure your table buddy is there. Nobody quit. All right. We'll see. I'll check the attendance later. All right. I hope I didn't scare many people from this course. All right, so what are we going to be today? As I said, previous class was the easiest one. Everything now is full steam ahead. It's going to be coding, lecture, and topics. So the more important part I will say is I stress a lot on the concepts. So make sure you understand the concept before you start coding and everything. Okay, concept is really important. If you don't understand the concept, you're not going to get everything. Okay, so we are going to start with HTML today. Some basic HTML, then we are going to look at Git. I'll talk about Git more, but that's the highlight of today. Git is extremely important, and that's the big concept that I want you guys to understand. Okay. Then towards the end of the class, we will touch base on CSS. You will learn some advanced concepts of CSS on Saturday, but I want to make sure that we start CSS today. Okay. Everybody good? All right, let's go ahead and get started. So I won't go through the PowerPoint. I'll start with basic HTML. Some of the settings, let me create one. Let's say hello world. Some of the settings that I use on my Visual Studio is autosave. So you will see that I'm not saving anything. As soon as I create a file, I write some code, it automatically saves it. Okay. One of the biggest things I've seen is by default it's turned off, so you need to turn it on. Sometimes, well, most times, then I would like somebody is saying, "Oh, my code is not working," and the only thing is they haven't actually saved their code. I'm telling you that happens a lot. Okay, nothing to be embarrassed about. I'm just going to pull your leg about it for a few moments, but that's okay. But that happens. So I usually keep it on autosave. It's a setting in Visual Studio. Somewhere over here. You can find it. I can look for it, or somebody can post it if they find it. But there's a autosave property. Oh, there it is. Okay, so I keep it on always. All right. The next thing I will show you how to run the HTML code, and the way I do it is using the plugin called Live Server. Okay, and I'll show you what it does. All right, that's what I use to run my HTML code. The other way is you just right click and say open in browser and your HTML is there. Okay, I'll show you what advantage Live Server brings to it. Okay, so the first part is HTML. HTML is the first language of the web development. Okay, there are three I said on Tuesday: HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. So we'll start with HTML. Then we'll take a look at CSS, and in the third week we'll do JavaScript. Okay. So the first thing is I'm going to create a HTML file. I'm going to call it hello world.html. Okay. For those of you who are wondering, Hello World is traditionally the first program that you write whenever you're trying to learn a new language. So that's why it kind of sticks around. Okay, so you will see a lot of Hello World programs. The intention is that's the first ever program that I'm writing in a language that I'm learning. Okay, so you guys are learning HTML, so that's why I start with the Hello World. All it does is it just outputs, it shows Hello World. That's all. That's the purpose. Okay. So I have my HTML file over here. Oh, let me move this in the folder. Okay, I'm going to collapse this so you guys can see it better. Make it a little bit bigger. Okay. The first thing is I'm going to type it and I'm going to explain. You know what? I'm not going to autocomplete for the first time. Doc type HTML. Okay, the brackets that you see, these are called angular brackets or angles, but this is called an HTML tag. Okay, anything that is between those greater than and less than brackets, they are called HTML tags. Okay, or HTML elements. Right, that's the term for these tags. What does doc type HTML do? Anybody has an idea what this tag does? Yes. It tells what? What kind of a file it is. Close. Okay.
It says what language it's going to be in.
What language it's going to be. Getting closer. Anybody else? Well, it's going to be the HTML. Right. This tag doesn't. I mean, if I save my file in .html, that's also kind of indicates that this is going to be an HTML. Something else. It's close. Anybody else?
Does it say where to find them? Like reading that code? Or?
What is fine? Yeah, kind of. So the short answer is that this tells which HTML version to use to parse this file. Right? So currently we are on HTML5. Remember that. This is the new HTML. Well, it's not new anymore. It's been there for a while. But the version is HTML5. That's what you're learning in this course. So the doc type on the top indicates that this file, the program that I'm writing, is using HTML5. If you're using some different version of HTML, for example, HTML4, you will see doc type and there's a link. There's a totally different thing. It actually has a URL embedded over here. So that tells the code that this is written in HTML4. There's a difference for HTML3 and all that stuff. Basically, at the easiest, at the simplest level, this tag is telling that the code that I'm writing is in HTML5, the newest, latest, and the greatest version of HTML. That's all this tag does. All right. So when your browser reads your HTML, it looks at this tag. It knows that it has to parse the file using HTML5. That's what it does. All right. All right. The next tag is you will see is called HTML. Okay, and as you see, Visual Studio kind of completed it. So this is the important tag. This is where all of your code is going to reside. Okay, by tradition these are called container tags, the HTML. So your whole code is going to be between these two lines. Okay, so this is how you start your HTML. Right, that's the code. The next tag is head. Okay, this is also a container tag. They kind of call container tags because it contains something. Now what does a head contains? Head will have your links to other files, your CSS, your JavaScript, your title of the page, and all that kind of stuff. Okay, head tag is the one that does not get rendered on the page. So the tag, anything that you write over here is not going to be shown on the page over here. Okay, it's for reference purposes. More technical term is called metadata, right? It contains some of the data about the code that you're writing, such as where's the CSS, where's the JavaScript, what is the title of the page that you see on the top over here. That comes over here. Okay, but remember that anything that you write over here is not rendered. You cannot see it on your browser over here. Okay. All right. So let's go ahead and add a title and hello world. Okay, so the title kind of shows up over here when you browse, when you go to your website. the thing that you see, the name of the website, that's what the title is. Okay. You can test it out really quickly. So what I'm going to do is, if you have installed, there are two ways you can do it. You can open this in the browser. You can drag drop this over here, and your page will load. Okay. The other thing, what I do is I use live server. What it does is, any changes that I make to my code, it will automatically refresh itself. You know, I don't know why I wouldn't use it, because otherwise what you have to do is you have to make a change, save the file, and then go back over here and then hit the refresh button. That's what you have to do if you open this directly in your browser, right? I Once I started using this plugin, I have never done that. This is like my third or fourth time. I never do that. Okay. A lot of people still do it. It takes time to get used to it, but this is convenient. Auto save, and then automatically loads over here. The only thing to remember is, if you're using live share, your HTML has to be inside a folder. If it is just lying around your desktop without inside being a folder, it's going to give you complaints saying, oh, something happened, some ridiculous kind of errors. The reason I have found is that your HTML has to be in a folder. Remember that. Okay. All right. We can test this out. If I change hello world 123, you will see it refreshes and the title changes over here. Okay. Nothing needed. No saving. Nothing. It automatically does it for me. All right. Extremely good tool to have. Saves you a lot of time, a lot of trouble too. Okay. And then it lets me kind of concentrate on the coding part. Okay. The next tag you will see is called body tag. Oops. Okay. Body tag is also container tag. Anything that goes in the body, you will be able to see it over here. That's what it is. This is the body. Okay. So any HTML that you write over here is going to be shown in your browser on this page over here. So let's start with some basic tag. H1. H1 stands for heading. All right. There are 6 heading tags. Start from H1 to H6. The only difference between them is the font size. That's what they do. Okay. So anything that you write between this is going to show up on your page. So hello world. Okay. That's what your H1 does. Oops. The other thing is right click, format document. Okay. Please get in the habit of using it. I see people call for help and they're like, hey, can you debug my code? And I see something like this, and it happens because you're learning new languages. Body is here and a head is there. Every time I see something which is not formatted, it kind of gives me anxiety, and I'm like, you know what? Can you just format it first before I can see it? I can't make what's going on over here, right? So you will see me, you come or you tell me to see your code, and the first thing I'll be like, hey, can you right click and format this document so I can kind of see it? Will this code render? Of course it will render. It's not really human readable. It's kind of difficult to read. Right now we just have like 3 lines, but when you have a bigger page, you will see it's really difficult to see what's going on. Okay, so I would highly recommend formatting your document, kind of making it look nicer. Okay, you can totally write this whole thing in just 1 line. Okay, computer doesn't care. I can totally do this. Okay, this will also work. I mean, I won't help you, but this will work too. Okay. I don't know if this will format it. Oh, there you go. That's nice. Okay, so try to make it more organized. Half of the battle is organization of your code and organization of your material. I'll talk about some of the material part. When you're creating these activities, when you're doing it, please keep your location of your projects somewhere that you can access it. You will soon see your desktop will be like covered in files, right? You'll be like, oh, I created this one, now I can find it. Start organizing from the beginning. Some of you guys are, well, that's kind of obvious, but you'll be surprised how many people it doesn't come naturally, right? And it's just human nature. Some people are like that, especially with coding, make sure if you are creating class activity, create good folders and make sure it's labeled correctly so that you can access those files. Okay, it will save you guys a lot of time. All right. So coming back over here, so we are in our body tag. Oh yeah, I'll show you something. Now, if you see, I kind of typed the whole thing out. This is the only time you will see me typing HTML this much, right? There's other thing over here which Visual Studio kind of does it nicely, and I typed it so that I can show you. If you say Shift exclamation mark and enter, it kind of gives you the whole template right there, and that's what you will see me creating every time. So that was the first and the last time you saw me actually writing the whole HTML template. Okay, every next time this is what we do. So it's a shift and exclamation mark, same shortcut in both Windows and Mac, doesn't matter. It gives you the basic template for your HTML. So you see it has a doc type, HTML, it has a head, it has few other things. You don't have to worry about those things. You can even delete that, it will still be fine. I'll go over them really quickly right now, but when we get to Bootstrap and more CSS, then we'll take a look at it. Yes?
I'm sorry, what did you say? You said shift?
Shift and exclamation mark.
And that's it?
That's it.
Oh, okay.
And then let me show you again. Shift and this, and it's the first one. You see the help thing? It's the first one. Sometimes what happens is you're kind of scrolling and you put the arrow over here and this one comes up, but make sure it's a single one. Okay, that's the shortcut. You press enter, it kind of autofills for you. Okay?
And that does have to be saved as an HTML file.
Yes.
in order to do that.
So let me bring my h1 tag back and say hello world. Okay, and this should bring it back. Let's change this to hello world. So that's how you would go about writing. What happened to my? Oh, so I need to restart it. Oh, there it is. Let's see. For my document, looks good. Okay. These two things over here, you can delete it or keep it, but this is when we are learning to make our website mobile friendly, so that people who access your website on mobile phones can also kind of look nice on mobile phones. And we'll see with CSS and Bootstrap how to do it. But these are the tags that are kind of indicating that mobile friendliness. Okay. For now, it's okay. We don't have to worry about it. All right. Now going forward for HTML, if you guys haven't looked at it, there's a really good site called W3 Schools. That's like the best site for looking at HTML for reference. There's no official, well, there's an official documentation, but W3 Schools is probably the closest and the most official document that you will find. Okay. Let's go back here. So in W3 Schools, you will find anything and everything related to HTML. So I was talking about H1. So these are the tags. So we saw H1s. These are the six different kind of. What it does is it's basically changing the font of a heading. That's all it does. Okay. So I can have a H2 tag. Kind of shows up over here. Okay. Of course, I'm not going to go through each one of these tags over here. I'm going to show you a few of them, and then depending on your needs, you guys are going to learn how to read the documentation from here and kind of pull the ones that you're looking for. Okay. Any questions so far? Let me go back to the code. Okay. Any questions about anything related to HTML? Some of the tags. Well, the tags that you see on the code. Is it very good? Understand what HTML is doing? Okay. Let's look at a few more. Let's look at the images one. Okay. Images one. Let's go ahead and try this one. So the image tag is img. Okay. If you notice, I closed the angle bracket for the image tag, but it didn't have a ending tag. All right, so usually you will see that there's a starting tag, h1, and there's an ending tag. The difference is the slash, the forward slash. Forward slash and then the name of the element means this is the ending tag of an HTML. Okay? But image doesn't have it, right? That's how it is. Image doesn't have an ending tag. It's kind of like a lonely or a alone tag. It doesn't have an ending tag. Okay? So if you are thinking, oh, I'm missing something or I'm missing an ending tag, that's not the case. All right? That's how image is. Okay? Now, within the HTML tag, you will see there are two properties, two things extra over it, src and alt. Okay? So anything that is between your tags like this kind of renders on the screen. You will see those things on the screen. So we typed in hello world and we were able to see that on our web page. Okay? Anything that is over here before the closing tag of your starting element, right? These are called attributes, right? Anything between these two are called attributes. These are HTML attributes. Okay. These attributes kind of have some fixed names, and these are the ones that are recognized by your browser. So src means the source of the image, and alt means alternate. If I'm not able to load that image, what should happen? You should show this title, basically a string. You must have seen if you're trying to go to a website and there's a picture or an image that doesn't load. Okay, there's a small over here. If you hover over it, it shows some kind of a name over here, right? That is coming from your alt thing. Whatever you mention over here, that's what it will show up. Okay, now these are predefined attributes, and if you use something else, it's not going to do anything. It's not going to render. HTML only recognizes some of the attributes which are kind of associated with your HTML. So for example, image has at least two, source and alt. Okay, source defines the image that you're trying to load. So let's go ahead and find something, some image. And then see if we can get a link to show up. Okay, let's try this. This will work. Image tag. So the first attribute is source, and this is helping me. There it is. Okay. Put in an image. Let's see if this works. Okay, it comes up. Okay. And the second is alt. Well, we won't be able to see the alt because it has to not load. Okay. Format this. Okay. I'm kind of have a bigger font, that's why it kind of shows up. Otherwise, it's going to be nicer on your screens. Okay. So these are the two important ones: source and image. Source and alt. Okay. So you put in a link, it will go through there, and it's going to pull that image and show it on your web page. Let me go back here. Okay. Let's look at the link one. If I want to show a link, this is HTML links. So these are the more popular ones which you will be using a lot. So that's why I'm kind of quickly going through them. But there are, of course, there are a lot more that you guys will encounter. Okay. So the link ones are called anchor. These are called anchor tags. Basically, what it is it shows a link on your web page. Right? You will see it's some text. Okay, and it will have like an underline where you can click and it takes you somewhere. Okay, so let's look at it. Anchor tag. It has one attribute called href. This is a place when you click this link, it's going to take you over there. Okay, let's see what it actually means. So if I use my anchor tag A, okay, it has a closing tag. All right, one of the properties is href contains the URL or the fragment that the hyperlink points to. Okay, so over here you need to mention some page. So let's say, okay, maybe my page. All right, so my screen has loaded, but you don't see that links anywhere, right? Any idea why not? No. Yes. Yes. All right. So the reason is because I haven't done anything between. So it's there. It's just invisible because I haven't actually said any text. I haven't given it any text. All right. And this goes. Let's say like this, and then it shows up over here. Okay. So remember anchor tags, href, and then you have to give it some kind of a text that you want to show up on your screen. Okay, now if you click it, it will take you to google.com. Okay, well, that's not taking. Let's try this. Oh, there it is. Okay. Let's come back. There are some other properties for a link. Let's go back. This thing. This is really important. There's another attribute. So the one that we saw was href or hyperlink reference. What it does is it will take you to the website that you're trying to go, right? The second is target, right? What does this attribute do? You will see that it has 4 values: blank, self, parent, and top, right? The more important ones are blank and self. We don't have anything parent, so don't worry about that. Okay, so what does the blank do? Opens the linked document in a new window or tab. All right, let's see what it means. So if I put my target and say underscore blank, okay, you see it opened in a new tab. Here's my previous one, and it opens up a new tab. That's what the target attribute does. Yes.
So does it, if you have a browser that's capable of opening tabs, does it multiple tabs?
No, by default it will stick over here. If you don't put anything, by default it will stay over here. It will open the link in the same page. By default, yeah, that's what it does. If you don't want that behavior, then you go ahead and use blank. Okay. Self is the default behavior. By default, it's basically self, that it will open the page in itself, whatever window is open. Okay. So from anchor tag, those are the more important ones, blank and self, and you'll be looking at those as well. All right. Any questions? Go back to the code. Yes. By default, I think it goes by whatever you have set it as. Like and in my Chrome, if you click it, it opens in a new tab. That's what it is going by for. But if you have, it looks at the browser settings. So for example, Firefox, you have it opens in a new window. That's what it will do. That's why you see it is saying it's a window or a tab. Yeah. It will go by your Chrome or Firefox or whatever settings. Okay. Any other questions? All right, so let's do this. You guys go ahead and give it a try. I'll send the exercise out. Let's see, and then we will come back and we'll do Git. All right. Can you guys slack out? Which one is 03? Actually, it's from the previous. Well, exercise number 03. Just the README file. You will see there's a bonus attached to this one, and these guys are slacking out that activity. I did not go through it. Uh, Give it a try. Look at the documentation. It uses tables and lists and see if you can figure it out. But the first part is at least everybody should give it a try and complete the first exercise. href. So I'm going to go ahead and start solving it. Keep working on it if you guys are okay. Somebody's stuck, they can look up and see which part. The first three, I think I've already done it. Doc type, head tag, H1, image is there. This is done. Let's see the second link bold. Okay. S dot www. Say, make the second link bold. Okay. Say, no, keep this over here. Part of YouTube. Okay, there it is. I have to make it bold. Let's see. B tag. We'll just put a B with the following values. Let's try that. Okay. So for bold, I'm using B. I just looked up on W3 School. They're saying there's a B tag. Looks like that will do. Then there's another tag called strong that also does the same thing. Make the third link a placeholder so it goes nowhere. Okay. So A goes nowhere. Href, and it is hashtag. If you put in anything in a hashtag, it just doesn't do anything. Let's see. There should be create an order list to make a sandwich. Okay. Let's look at over here. It's under lists. If you guys haven't already found order list, so oops. Let's look at the order list is OL. Okay, so the tag is called OL. OL gives me an ordered list and it has tags called LI. Okay. Let's go back here. Bread. Okay. Okay. So this is how you make an ordered list. So the ordered list, you can see it puts numbers to it. An ordered list will have a bullet point. That's the difference. Okay. Okay. So that's my ordered list. Unordered list. Um, Same thing, just with UL. Okay, same thing, just with a bulleted list. So UL unordered list, OL ordered list. Use an alternative way of create a table. Let's see, tables. Okay. Yeah, you can use the table tags. TR is table rows, TH is table headers, and then this is how it will work. So the first tag is table, okay, and then I need rows in my table, so TR, okay, and TH means table header. These are my rows on the top, the first one. So let's say first name, um, last name. Let's start with this one, and then everything below is going to be the second row, but those are going to be the values. So for example, it's called TD, and okay, and I can have another. Oh, let me open this up here so I can see it. So there's my table, and then I can have another row with somebody else's name. So TD, and then last name. So this is how you will create the table. Again, you don't have to remember the syntax. I don't remember the syntax. I just look it up. I know what to see, what to find, and then I can understand what's going on. And then you can build and complete the exercise. Okay, I'll leave the last one. I'll upload the solution later, but take a look at it. You should be able to do it using iframes. Nobody uses it anymore, but it's just in the exercise. I highly doubt you will ever come across using iframes anymore. But you are going to use iframe for the last part. It's interesting. YouTube has those copyright issues. So you will see if you try to use iframe and try to embed it in your page, sometimes the YouTube video actually doesn't come up. It's because it has copyright issues and they don't want you using those videos. So try to find a free one and use it. Most of the time, if it's not coming up, it's the copyright issue, and you cannot embed the YouTube video in it. But the iframe is the one that you want to use. All right. Any questions on this? The more important part of this exercise is that you are able to create an HTML page at least, understand the autosave, how to run the HTML efficiently without bothering so much. It kind of shows up. Was everybody able to get that working? Any questions, any issues on that? Okay. Sometimes what happens is you will get, if you try to open a page multiple times, you will get some error saying port in use or something. If you look at the bottom of Visual Studio, at the bottom you'll see this thing, port 5500. Okay. Basically, if you look at the URL, what is going on is it's a little bit more technical, and we'll understand this better. But it's actually running on something called localhost. It's kind of treating it as a website. That's why it's able to auto reload your code over here. Okay. If you run into that issues, just go ahead and click this button over here. It will kill that whatever is running on that port, and then you can restart the app. But that's about it. Okay. So that's why you every time you run this, you will see a port number at the bottom. Open with live server, and we'll come back to it. Okay. All right. Any other questions before we move on? Yes.
I forgot to put a buzzing HTML tag,
Mhm.
and it didn't
Yeah.
seem to affect it. So what is?
Right. So here's the bad part about anything. It's HTML, CSS, especially JavaScript. Right? You write, and it's like the wild west of languages. You write anything, and it will be happy. Your browser will try to render it, and it will blow up, but it will never complain. That's the kind of bad part about it. And it's kind of hard to debug also. So sometimes what happens is the browser kind of tries to be smart and tries to guess what you're trying to do, especially with JavaScript. And I hate that part. It should give you an error saying, "Oh, something you missed out something," but that's how unfortunate it is. So browser will try its best to render it. If it doesn't, it will just not, your things won't show up. That's what it is. In any other programming language, you will see it will actually not even compile and it will give you an error, but that's not the case with HTML, CSS, or JavaScript. HTML, CSS are still okay. What I hate is the JavaScript bubble, because that's where your main code is, and it will never complain. It will just blow in your face when your site runs. Okay, we'll look at Java. Yes. Yes. Usually practical is what I've seen is, you are creating few more web pages and they are not ready yet, but you want to deploy your website and say, hey, if somebody tries to go it, I'm not just ready with it, but you are in a rush and you want something to be up there. So I would use placeholder at that point, just as an indication that it's not ready. A more sophisticated one would be that you create a page which says, oh, this still under review or something, the web page doesn't exist. But even if you don't have time, what I've seen is people just do it as a placeholder saying, oh, something is coming, but I'm not ready with it yet. So yeah. And then it's if you are creating a layout of your web page and you know there's going to be a link but it's not ready, the page, so you would put that link over here so that visually you understand how much real estate you have now. So my link is always going to be here, but I'm not ready with it, so that's why I would put a placeholder. Yeah, that's why. That's a use case I can think. Yes.
So I just wanted to Google this placeholder, and the syntax that I got from W3 School is different from what you have up there.
What did you find? Let's see. Place.
It's the bracket input placeholder equals quotes text.
This one. Oops. No, that's not the right one.
Placeholder property for input.
Placeholder property for this one. All right, let's see. So this placeholder is a little bit different. Did you figured out what it is? No. Okay. So this placeholder is, if you see, it says input. So this means it's a text box. Those boxes that you see on your some of the websites. Let's suppose name, and then it says go ahead and enter your name. Okay. Placeholder is that you want to put some text over here that indicates what you have to do. So you will say something like enter your name, right? Some kind of a hint or a help. That's what the placeholder is. As soon as you click over here, this kind of text disappears, and then you go ahead and enter your name. That's what the placeholder is.
Oh, okay, so
Yeah.
I'm making a profile or something.
Profile.
Yeah, so when you're signing up for an account and it says
Oh.
name.
Yeah. Anything that you see over here, as soon as you click disappears,
Yeah.
it's called the placeholder text. That's what it is. Okay. Yeah, best is if you find something, this has like a built-in thing. Run it over here, and you will see what it actually does. So these things, you will see these placeholders. You see these things over here, first name and this thing. So as soon as you type in, kind of goes away. That's what it is. All right. Any other questions? Ready to move on? All right. So let's go ahead and for now leave this exercise. I'll upload the solutions. You guys can look at it. The next concept is extremely important. All right. So let's go ahead and concentrate on that concept. And I want you guys to understand it clearly before we move on to. It's not actually like anything coding related, but it's extremely important. The concept is called Git. Git. Git is probably the most important tool in today's industry. Right? Almost any company that you go and find a job, they are going to be using Git. So it is extremely important we understand what it is. It's the bread and butter of every software engineer. I use it daily, like I don't know, like hundreds of times. Right? Any programmer you ask, they are going to be using Git. So we need to understand clearly what this tool is and how to use it. Okay? So from the definition, Git is a version control tool. Just remember that, and I'll go through each one. Version control tool. Now what this means. Before we can understand Git, I'm going to show you some examples, talk in English, and then I'm going to go back and kind of come into the technical terms. So first of all, I need you to understand what Git is and what it does. Okay? So let's suppose you have a Word document. Somewhere located it on a central place. Right? This is a .docx. Okay? Think about Dropbox or Google Drive or something where you have a document that is located over here. Okay? You download the document, you're working, and somebody has said, okay, you need to update this document with some instructions or something. Okay? So you go ahead and download this document, and you're making some changes to it. Okay? At the same time, somebody else in your company comes and downloads the same document, and they are also modifying it. Okay? Likely scenario. You complete your work, and you go ahead and save it back to the main server or main location. Right? So all your things that you updated are over here. Okay? After a while, this person has also made some changes. Okay? And they go ahead and do the same thing. What's going to happen? It's going to override it. Okay? All your changes are now gone. Okay? And everybody understand this scenario? Right? Likely scenario, it happens. So if you understand this, let's go ahead and kind of convert this into our HTML code. Okay? So let's suppose I want a super complex website to be done by you guys. Right? My super complex website has a header, okay, a footer, and then I have 2 images. All right, I'm like, this is my next big breakthrough and $1 million idea, and I want this website to be made. Right? So let's suppose I hire 2 of you guys. Let's suppose I hired Basim and then Hannah. Right? Sometimes I need 2 people to come up with this website, and I want this to be done. Right? So Basim and Hannah go ahead and they're like, okay, let's go ahead and distribute our work. Right? Hannah says I'm going to do the header and footer. Basim says I'm going to do these two images. Okay? Now, this saying the code for this is located just like a document at a central place. Alright? So these two go ahead, download the initial code, which is empty right now. Okay? And they are working side by side. Okay? So Basim goes ahead and completes his work. Okay, he has two images. That's all he's concerned about. Puts in time, adds these two images, and kind of puts it on the central location, right? So that I can go ahead and see. So at this point, at my central location, website looks like with two images now. Okay. All right, this is done. Now Hannah is also working on it, and then she goes ahead and completes her part, and now we have two headers. Okay, she goes ahead and does the same thing. Remember our previous scenario? It's going to override it. So all I see in the end is two headers. So I come at the end of the week or month and I'm like, okay, all right, I'm ready. Show me the website. All I see is headers and footers. I'm like, well, I'm paying you also, but it doesn't look like you did your work, right? But I don't know. What happened was that when Hannah uploaded her code, it kind of overrode everything that was done over here. Okay? So we started with a document, then now we are looking at some HTML. Right? Basically, if you translate this into code, there's the image tag over here. All right. There's some divs or H1s here, here, and in the code, that's what the HTML is. Okay. So how do we avoid this situation? That's where Git comes in. Right? Git is a solution to exactly avoid this. When you're working in an industry in your office as an engineer, you will have a project and you will have multiple people working on it. All right, multiple people working on the same code base, right? Same product. So how do you kind of avoid this situation? Right, people are constantly making changes and kind of updating the website or something else. And how do you avoid this situation? And that's where Git comes in, right? Git is a tool that manages that thing, manages your code for you, all right? Git is responsible for making sure that whoever is working on it, they are able to have this part also and this part also. Okay? In the end, I'm looking for this, and Git will make sure that the code that different people are working on it is merged or does not get lost. Basically, it's not overwritten. Okay? This is an extremely high level definition or high level usage of Git. We'll see what it does and what more it does, but this is what Git does, right? It is. I'll explain why is it called version control. It's also called source control tool. Source comes from code base or code source and all that stuff. Basically, it is taking care of your source, which is this, and kind of managing it, making sure that nothing is overridden, everything is there, all the hard work that you have put in is in a controlled environment. Okay, nothing is getting lost or overridden. All right, questions before I move on to the technical part. Everybody understand what the concept of Git is? All right, so that's what Git is. Okay, now let's go ahead and see what Git does. All right, so same situation. Okay, let's start with the same thing. This is empty. This is empty. Okay, so now our source code is controlled by Git. Okay, we'll see how we do it, but right now let's suppose that Git is controlling all our source code is under the management of Git. Okay, so Basim goes ahead, gets the initial copy of the code, which is nothing, it's empty. Okay, and same for Hannah. All right, we go ahead and make some changes, images, everything is good. He completes his work, goes ahead and updates the source code over here. Okay, now my website has these two images. right? So Hannah still has the original copy, which was empty code, and she goes ahead, adds these footers, and then she goes ahead and tries to update the main source code, which is under the control of Git. Now, what is going to happen? Git is going to reject that merge, right? Git understands code. It will go ahead, it will try to compare the code over here and the code over here. It's going to reject. It's going to say you cannot update the copy, you cannot update the source code that you're trying to send it to me. Why? Because since you got the fresh copy from me, from Git, something has changed over here. And I don't see those changes over here. So Git is going to reject your changes. Again, when Hannah tries to upload her code, Git is going to tell her that, okay, there was some changes after you got the initial code, and I don't see those changes that I have reflected over here. So I'm not going to let you do it. So what she has to do, she has to first get all these changes, kind of merge them together, okay? And then try to update it, okay? This time, Git is going to check and it will say, okay, there's new code also, but there's also the existing one that I already had. It has been merged. It's somewhere over here. Everything looks good. It's going to go ahead and update it, and then the new code is going to have both of these guys code. Okay? I imagine only 2 people are working. Imagine 5, 6, 7, 8, 10, 15 people working on the same code base, and Git handles everything. Okay? This is why it's called a source control. It is controlling the source code, right? It makes us not do stupid and silly things, all right? So it kind of keeps that in check. And the reason it is also called version control, it is controlling the version. The version over here changed. Basically, it's calling it version, right? When Basim uploaded this, there was a different version. Initially, there was no code, right? So that's, let's say, in Git terms, this was version 1. Git has its own version. I'm just simplifying it, right? When there were some changes, when Basim uploaded this code, Git is saying, oh, I'm on version number 2 now. The source code has a different version. When Hannah tries it, that code mismatches this version. So that's why I kind of complain, say, hey, you don't have the latest code. You need to go ahead, get that code, merge it, make some changes, and then go ahead and try to give it to me. All right? So basically, Git is kind of making some versions and keeping track of it, right? What version of the code is there on the central location. So that's why it's also called a version control or a source control tool. But the main point of Git is it keeps track of your code base, and it makes sure the copy, the main one, is that has everybody's work. Okay, and you can imagine if multiple people are working on the code, this is what you need, because you don't want somebody else's work being overwritten by your changes. Okay. All right. Questions on the concept? Yes.
Doesn't that make it difficult? Like if there's multiple people working on the same thing simultaneously,
Yeah.
that you're just constantly having to re-update it and reapply
Yes,
the changes.
that is the rule. Before you, I don't want to do the technical just now. Before you update your changes over here, you need to get the changes, and that's the golden rule. And you will see when you're working, that's what everybody preaches, right? Because if you try to send your code and you get a rejection error, I mean, initially it's okay, but if you are a more experienced person, you will see it's kind of a little bit, people will start teasing you. Hey, you're trying to upload something without actually getting the code down. That's like the golden rule that everybody follows. So make sure you are getting the latest code before you make any changes. Okay? Yes, you have to do it multiple times of the day and all that stuff that you have to do it. Yes?
What if somebody beats you to it?
Exactly, and that's what happens in every office. The race is who pushes their code first. Oh yeah, that's it. You will see people fighting so that they don't have to deal with this thing. Right? Everybody has to deal with this thing. I do. Oh, I did first, so I need to get it because I'm never going to have any conflict. I'm not going to have any issues. I know this is going to go directly. But if I'm this person, Then I have to get all the changes, make sure it's working, retest my code, that thing, and then go ahead and upload it. Yes.
In this scenario that you created here, let's say that, for instance, Anna does upload her code first, and I try and send mine, I get the rejection.
Yes.
When I download her new code, am I just finding a spot to paste my code over or inside of the code that she's already typed, or is there a procedure that we go through to do that?
Yes, there's a procedure. What happens is Git, first of all, tries to merge your code automatically. Git is smart enough. If there are no conflict, it knows where to place the code. It will do it automatically. But if it is something that you also went ahead and did a header, maybe in a different way, right? And it finds that conflict that okay, it's actually going to override it. It's going to stop over there, and it's going to ask your help. It will say, oh, you go ahead now and look at me manually, look at the files, kind of figure out, copy paste it, whatever you want to do it. But I'm not going to do it automatically. The first time, yes, Git is going to try it on its own. If it is able to do it successfully, it will do it for you. If not, it's going to give you an error. Then you have to open the tool, Visual Studio. Visual Studio has good built-in tools, and they will visually show you the differences, and it will say, hey, do you want this code? Do you want this code? When you get to that part, we'll see. I'll show you. It's probably like project one. For now, you won't have any merge conflicts because you're not sharing the code right now. But yes, there are built-in tools that will help you visually. Yeah. But you will not be able to merge it unless everything has been resolved. All right. Any other questions? Good. All right. Now let's come to the technical terms. What does each? What are these operations? Okay. Now the copy, the main code that is over here, you will hear the word master. Okay, that's the main code that everybody is trying to update. All right, so that code is called master, and you will see the word used being used over here. Okay, the second thing that you will hear is the word clone. Okay, clone basically means that there is some code base on the central server over here, but you don't have a copy on your local drive. Okay, on your local computer, on your laptop, you don't have that code yet, right? How do I get that code? I have to clone. We'll see how we do it, but we have to clone our code that is located over here onto our local drive. Okay. Once you clone it, you basically get the exact copy that is over there. Okay. Now maybe it's updated, so the first time this is what you will get. That the process is called clone. Okay. And you have to do clone just once, the first time. As long as this code exists on your local drive, you never have to do a clone again. Okay. If you go ahead and delete it from your local drive, right? Nothing is going to happen. All you have to do is re-clone it from the central one, and you'll get that code back again. Okay, that's what cloning does. Okay, I will tell you, people are super scared about deleting and all that stuff. As long as Git is handling your code, nothing is going to get lost. All right, as long as you have saved everything to Git, nothing ever gets lost. It's always going to be there. Well, unless Git itself just goes down, but there will be like bigger issues if that goes down, right? But for the most part, your code is not going to get lost. People are kind of scared of deleting or what's going to happen. I'll show you that if the code is under Git's control, it's not going to get lost. Okay, so that's the cloning part. Yes. Any questions? Good. All right. So clone, you do it the first time. Master is the main copy that's on your central location, and we'll see where that location is. Okay, then you will hear the word repository or repo. Repository or repo. Okay, this is the project folder. This is your code that resides on that server. This thing. Okay, I'll come back to the master again. But repository basically means this is your project. So let's suppose you have your Hello World project. Okay, remember I created a folder and then it had an HTML file, Eventually it will have some CSS and all this stuff. This thing that you upload to the server will be called a repo or a repository. Okay, just your main project folder. That's what it is. Just a technical term for it. Okay. Now the next ones are more important. When you try to download this code, this is called pull. Okay. Pull always, whenever you hear the term pull, it means you are getting the code from the central location, from your master, from the main repository that exists over here. Pull always means coming down. Right? When you are trying to upload that code, it's called push. Okay? Push always means from your local, the changes that you have done are going up to the server. All right? Pull and push. Those are the more technical terms. Okay? The next one you will hear is the word commit. Okay? What does this mean? This means that you have made changes on your computer. All right? You're working on something, you have made some local changes, and then you go ahead and you commit those changes. Right? This means commit is basically telling Git that, all right, I have made my changes, I'm done with it. These are the changes that I want to eventually go up. Okay? It doesn't do it, it does not push, those changes to the server yet. You are just telling Git that, all right, I'm done, this is my thing, I'm committing all the changes. Okay? And these are the changes. When I do a push, you're going to go ahead and send these changes. Okay? You cannot do a push without doing a commit. The first step, well, this commit is the second step. I'll go to the first one, but the changes cannot go unless you have committed those changes. So that's why when you're working, you will hear the word, "Hey, did you commit your changes?" Basically, it means that okay, you have committed your changes. You have run the commit command. These are actually all commands: push, pull, commit, clone. Okay, and I will show you how to use these commands. So basically, you are saying, all right, Git, I'm ready to push my changes. Go ahead and commit them. All right, and then you go ahead and push your changes, and Git will go ahead and see whatever you committed. It's going to go ahead and push those changes. Okay, so this is now getting more technical. Pull, push. We'll start with clone, then pull, push, commit, and then before commit, and I will draw this out. So the first step you would do is, if you don't have anything, you're going to clone the repository. Okay, and then just make sure do a pull. You don't have to do it because when you clone it, it automatically pulls and everything. Okay, so we'll come back to it. Okay, then you're going to go ahead and make changes to the repository that you just cloned. All right, and then you're going to commit those changes first. Right. Now, before commit, there's a step called add. Right? This is just an additional step. What this does is, let's suppose you go ahead and you create new files. Right? You create new HTML file which does not exist when you have cloned it. Right? The add command, what it does is it goes ahead and kind of adds those files to your Git controlled environment, right? That's all it does. Okay. I know it's kind of extra step or extra command, but that's how it is defined. So once you clone it, you make your changes, and I'm going to show you. The first thing you will do is do an add and do a commit, and then after adding it, you will do a commit. Now remember, until this point, the code is still local to your computer. You have not updated your server. Your main repository is not updated. It's still over there on your computer. Okay? Now what you will do is once you have committed, you're going to do a push. And this is what will go ahead and push our changes. Okay? There are differences what commit does, but I don't want to go in more detail. I just will say that commit is kind of tracking the time, the person who's made the changes, what lines of code were changed. It's extremely specific, right? That's what the commit is doing. But I will talk about it in a bit. But you will commit your changes and then you're going to push your changes. Okay? And the other person, what they will do is they will do a pull and get all the updated code. Okay? Now Git tracks everything. Every line of code that you are changing, the time you are changing, the person, the user ID who changed that code, everything is there. It's visible. Anybody can see it. All right? Um, I've seen when people are, they copy somebody's homework. I will tell you everything is trackable. I just have to look at your GitHub repository. I can tell when you committed, how much you committed. If there's a commit on the last day of homework and everything is there, I mean that's a red flag, all right? Yeah, yeah. Everything, and I'll show you on GitHub. Everything is there. User ID, when it was committed, what line was changed, what was going on. Everything is traceable. All right. It's not to track anything, but that's where the version control comes in. You know, when you're working in a bigger environment and people are continuously pushing code into production that can break something, it's kind of accountable. You need to go back and see, oh, what line of the code was changed, so that you can quickly go back and kind of revert those changes. That's the purpose of it. Okay, it's not to kind of shame anybody. Hey, you changed this. Well, it happens, but the more important is that you're able to track exactly what line of code change that kind of broke the whole production. Okay? All right. Any questions? No questions?
Wow. Are pull and clone synonymous then?
They kind of, I wouldn't say synonymous, but clone is you do it only once, the first time. Pull is you are doing every time you want before you do a push, right? The good thing is there are many people who are working on it. You complete your task and you're ready to push. Before you push, the good thing is go ahead and pull. Maybe somebody changed, you don't know. Make a pull, get the code, merge it, and then go ahead and push it. There was a question over there. Yes.
Oh, yeah, I was just going to ask, when you do that add command,
Yes.
does that kind of, is that almost like saving changes to
Yes.
Git? Okay.
Yeah. But these both are your local. Okay, at this point if you do an add and you don't do a commit, Git will not push any changes. If you do a push without skipping the commit, if you are going to get an error saying, oh, there's nothing committed or something, right? This is just the first step, and at this step, what is the advantage is that you can go back from that step. At some point, you realize, oh no, I don't want to commit these changes. I'm going to remove these changes. So at this point, you can remove some of those files that you added in the right? You can come back from commit also. Commit is the one that actually creates the history and everything. It will, when you do a commit, you will see a line over there. It will say, oh, this is the timestamp. This is the person who did this, and these are all the lines of code that changed and everything. It happens when you do a commit. Okay. As we go along, you will see those changes more. For now, just remember, clone the first time, add, commit, push, and pull. Okay. Yes, you had a question.
You actually answered it.
Oh, okay. Awesome. Wow. Yes.
So, just to make sure I have the proper understanding, for adding allows you to add it, check it before actually committing.
Yes. Basically, you can say it. Yes. Okay. The other important thing is these are the steps, and you cannot commit until you have added it. Okay. You cannot push until you have committed it or you have done this. Okay. So I will show you the commands. The first thing we'll do is add. We'll do commit, and then we'll go ahead and push it. Okay. These are the 3 steps. All right. Any other questions? Okay. Before we go on a break, I'm going to talk about 2 more things. Now, Git is a tool. Then you must have heard 2 other websites, GitHub and GitLab. You guys heard about it? Okay. Let's do it. GitHub and GitLab. Okay. These are 2 different websites that give you space that gives you cloud space to store your code. That is all this is. Okay. Now we are storing our code somewhere, right? Not on our computer, on somewhere on the server. All right. These two are websites that kind of gives you space, right? It has what they do is they behind the scenes they are still using the tool called Git. All right. The main tool is Git. Git is a tool as a source control. All right. GitHub and GitLab are two websites that are using Git, but they're basically giving you space so that you can store all the code over there. That's what these guys are doing. Okay? These are just not the two players. There are more. There's GitKraken and a few more websites, but these two are more popular ones. Right? GitHub is now owned by Microsoft. Okay? If you guys didn't know, last year or something, they bought GitHub. GitLab, I'm not sure who owns it, but I don't think it's Microsoft. But Microsoft now owns GitHub. Okay. Now, in our course, you are going to be using GitHub for all your homeworks and projects. Okay. You're going to have your personal GitHub account. You're going to same thing. You're going to create a repository on GitHub. You're going to clone it, add your code, commit it, push it, and then you're going to submit the link for the GitHub for your homeworks, projects, and everything. Okay? This is your personal account. GitLab is where I am going to be pushing all your activities, homeworks, and all the stuff for you guys to download and kind of look through it. Class activities, presentations, hub documents, whatever related to the class, I am going to be putting it on GitLab, right? Now, everybody in the class, well, except the kids, have the permission only to pull the changes. Okay, pull anything that I upload over here. You cannot push it. You can give it a try. You guys don't have the permission to do it. Okay? But on GitHub, that's your personal. You can do whatever you want. You can delete it, do whatever. But this thing, GitLab is for all class activities and everything. And that's where I'm going to be uploading all whatever I'm showing you in the class. That's going to be uploaded over there. When I tell you guys, oh, the class activities, the solutions have been uploaded, homework assignment has been uploaded, this means I'm uploading to GitLab. Okay, and then you guys will go ahead and pull this. You'll get all the latest changes, whatever I have pushed. Okay, please understand the difference. GitHub and GitLab are just websites that are giving you some hosting space to put your code in. Okay, behind the scenes is still the tool Git, and this is what is important. Okay, let me quickly show you GitLab. Yes.
So it is not something that
Yes, VS Code has it. It's not an extension, it actually comes built into it. But don't use VS Code Git right now. I want you guys to do it the hard way for now. Okay, so that's why I don't even talk about visual aids, right? In my day job, to be honest, I don't use these commands. I am using IDEs that have built-in and right-click and do everything. But for now, at this stage, it's important that you guys learn to do it I won't say the hard way, but that's how a lot of programmers do it. And that's why we learned Git Bash on Tuesday. We're going to see most of the commands we're going to be using that we learned on Friday, right? The reason is so that we can use these commands. Yes, Visual Studio has it. For now, don't use that. Use the ones that I'm showing you. Okay, once you get proficient, when you understand the concepts, yes, there are visual tools that you can use to do all those things. Okay? All right, so this is the GitLab. When you log in, you should be, I'll give some time, but you should be able to see something like this. So every week I upload, let's say Tuesday. So I usually try to upload it either over the weekend or a Monday, the next week's, all the activities and everything. So you will see this uploaded. Right now it's HTML Git. This is what we are doing this week. So you guys should be able to see this folder, and then within that folder you will see activities, homework instructions, my presentation that I'm doing. Supplemental has some extra things to help you guys. There's a video guide also. This will exactly show you some of the solutions that somebody has done, so it's in a visual form. It has links to some YouTube videos. Okay, so GitLab will host all your instructions and everything for now. These activities are being slacked out to you, but at some point in like a couple of weeks, I'm going to tell the TAs not to slack them out. You will have to learn. You will have to pull the activities, right? Pull out these pages, and then do it on your own and make sure that these are working. Right? For now, it's okay. We are slacking out. The thing is, it's going to get you in practice because what we have seen is we slack out the activities. You guys don't use GitHub or the Git a lot. Come project one, people have so many issues with Git, and they start hating Git. All right, there's you cannot win the fight with Git. All right, Git is extremely popular. Please make sure you learn it. There's no escape from Git. I'm telling you. If I go in an interview and the company tells me they're not using Git, I probably won't even work. I'm like, okay, you know what? No. Right? Git is the most popular tool. It's extremely supported. Most recently, GitHub, when Microsoft bought it, there used to be private repositories. Right? There are public and private repositories, and I will show you. Public are the ones that everybody can see. Private are the ones that you have to buy them. Right? When Microsoft bought it, they made private also free. You can actually create a private without any paying anything. So thanks to Microsoft, we now have free private repositories. Right? I'll show you all of those things in a few minutes. Okay. All right. Any questions? Everybody understands the difference between Git, GitHub, and GitLab? Okay. So please don't come to me now and say, "Oh, my GitHub is not working. I'm not able to push." Right? My Git is not working. I don't know what that's right. Because GitHub is just a hosting website. Okay. Let's take a break. We'll start back at 8:15, and I'll show you GitHub, how to run all those commands, and you guys will be uploading some code today. Okay.
Yes. So how do you want us to handle the solid stuff? Do you want us to be slacking out solutions once we go over those activities?
Yeah, slack out for now, and then see if you can push those solutions also.
Okay, to the student-facing one. Okay.
Yeah.
So I was going to ask if you wanted me to start doing that, but basically, as soon as we've covered it, we can do that.
Yeah, we'll give a few days
Okay.
before, but yeah, you can go ahead and post
Okay. And slack it out right now.
solutions.
Question for you.
JJ.
One thing that I've done in the past is just kind of gotten all of the people like in Gilbert together on like a Saturday during lunch and just said like, hey, we're a team, let's work together, you know, if you guys need anything, et cetera, just kind of do a meet and greet share sort of thing. Would something like that, do you feel be helpful for your team? Or
Yeah,
I know
yeah.
you kind of
TAs
got
and
things on. Yeah, just
Okay,
like
yeah.
basically since you're going to be here every Saturday and
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
so we're
Yeah.
like, if nothing else, then you know we all know each other, and those guys are you know,
Oh, yeah.
12 weeks ahead of these guys. And
Yeah.
So
Oh, even the students?
no,
Oh,
just
the-
the staff,
okay.
just the staff.
Yeah.
So-
I'm not here this Saturday, but
Okay.
after that I'm here. So next Saturday, perfectly. We can do it. Schedule.
All right.
Yeah.
We'll figure
I
it
would
out.
love
Then.
that.
All right, cool. We'll figure it out then.
All right, sounds good.
We'll go from there.
Is Matt on for these guys?
Yeah, he said he'll be here. Yeah. You guys can see this? It's so clear. I've told Ben.
You actually really go in.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Oh, it puts it down. Yeah, the double. You have access to it? I just signed up for it. Did you get a link to it?
Figure out the list and then you start to just watch. It's like I thought I could just do it like on my own, and it just came out like so like that's the thing to do real quick. That's kind of like a good way to learn. These both are working.
They sent out an email saying we have no relationship with those guys, so don't ask for a discount.
I don't know, some of them were like a half a million.
All right, let's go ahead and get started. So before I show you guys all of this, I want you guys to first open up GitHub. It should show up your page. There shouldn't be any message saying SSH and all that stuff. If you are seeing it, please raise your hand, get the TA's attention. And because the SSH and all that stuff is, if it's not set up, you won't be able to do anything. You won't be able to push, pull, or anything. Okay. There's somebody over here, Ethan or Sam. Can you help him with the GitHub? One of you guys. And the second thing is the same with GitLab. Okay. If you are go to GitLab. I posted this link earlier. You should be able to see this. If you are seeing SSH or any issues, again, there's no point going forward. All right, I'll give you guys maybe 10 minutes. Try to see if it gets resolved in those minutes. Otherwise, after we can take a look at it office hours. Okay, so let's make sure everybody is able to see this. Otherwise, the next exercises you won't be able to do anything.
It looks like my GitHub or yes, my Bash is set up to GitHub, but not GitLab. The SSH key is connected to GitHub.
Okay, you can use the same key for GitLab also, I think. Give it a try and see. If it doesn't, generate a new one the same way and put it on GitLab. But I think the same one should work. Give it a try and see. Yeah.
If you go under where it says
Just run the command again. Just hit it.
worship is still having
You did the same thing I did? Yeah.
I researched it. I was like, oh, just type it in. So I typed it. And then I actually watched another video where it said, oh, you don't want to put passwords. You know, passwords. Okay, so then
It's still in the pre-work. I mean, like, you just go back to it. Yeah, I did the same thing. Yeah, whenever it says for password, you just hit enter twice, and then it says confirm password.
So basically, for one of that, it's just that.
Yeah. Again, GitLab is for you can't do anything.
I didn't know how to read passwords with
Yeah, but I was saying that you should still have access to GitLab so that you can look at the activities.
You're gonna have to go back.
But the exercise that we will do is what we have. No, you still need it because you won't be able to download anything if you don't have SSH key and everything is required for both of them. The thing with GitHub is that's your personal account and that's where you'll be uploading your projects and doing everything. GitLab is for me. I'm going to upload the activities and everything. You guys will be only able to download those. Every time I push a new version, I'm going to tell you guys you're going to do a pull and get the new activities down. But you cannot, it doesn't go other way. It's just like view only. But how do I? Oh, there was a link and so do you see a error with SSH?
And that's what we're providing.
Then you can pause it. Go to your you already have the framework and everything. So you probably so if you hadn't done it, then you would see the SSH. It doesn't show. It wasn't the pre-work. There was a document. So if you don't see that, I will press into yeah. I'll show you what to do now. Yeah, because none of them would work unless you have that set.
Now you gotta go show you. Where you just fall straight
Right, for now we are just fixing if you see a SSH error or anything. We are not doing anything. I'm going to show you what to do and then you will do it. All right, we're just, everybody should be able to log into GitHub and we're just verifying that the setup is good. Otherwise, it won't work. Okay? All right, if you don't have errors and everything, please go ahead and close your laptops for now. I'm going to show this. Take a look at how it is done, then I'm going to repeat it and you guys can follow me along. But first of all, I want you guys to see each one of these steps. It's kind of quite a few steps and people can get lost. So I want to make sure first of all see it and then we'll do it together. Okay? All right, so I need two things for this one. The first is my GitHub account, so I logged in and I see my repositories and everything. The second thing is the terminal, or for people who are using Windows, it's going to be Git Bash. All right. No, please note all of these will only work in Git Bash for Windows, or I don't have to say for Mac because there's only one thing, terminal, and everything works over there. But for Windows, if you open command prompt, it's not going to work. You're going to get errors saying Git is not found or something like that. Okay. And the first day we verified when we typed in Git, everybody kind of confirmed they were seeing some kind of a message like this. So this means Git is installed. Okay. All right. The first thing I have to do is I have to create a repository. All right. Remember the first step? I need to create a project. I would need to create a repository. All right. If you go to GitHub, they have a new button over here. Either it shows up over here, or you can go to your profile, your repositories, and then it shows up over here, right? It doesn't. It's a green new button. You click this new, and then it says give a repository name. All right. So I'm going to give it a name. Hello. Oops. Hello world repo. Okay. You will see spaces are not allowed. Don't use spaces. Okay. You will see that I'm using hyphen. People use underscore. For me, and I'm going to be instilling some biasness that which I like. So I put hyphens. It's kind of, for me, it's better. And you will see in the industry also people use hyphens or dashes to separate the repository name. Somewhere you will see underscores, but not usually, right? The second option is you can give a description or skip it. It doesn't matter. This is okay. This is what I was saying, public and private. So if you create a public repo, anybody can search your username. You can search my username over here as Daniel K, and you can actually see all my repositories if they're public. I think I have made some of them private. But anything that is created as a public, anybody can access it. Okay, and you guys are going to create always public. Why? If you submit a GitHub, guess what? TAs won't be able to access unless it is a public repo. All right, so don't worry about it private. Now 6 months ago, this would have been paid. It was kind of locked. You had to pay for it, but thanks to Microsoft, they kind of made it free for everybody. So you can create private repos also. Private repo basically means nobody can see your repository, right? Only you can see it. Okay. The next thing you will see, initialize this repository with a README. Good practice, always initialize it with a README. README is basically, you don't have to fill it out right now, but README basically tells what your project is, what is going on, what technologies you are using, and all that stuff. So if you look at your GitLab, the one that I'm posting, I have a README inside this folder, and kind of this is my README. Okay, kind of giving you overview or something. So when you're creating your project, I will highly encourage you guys create a README. You're submitting a homework. Tell about the homework, what you did, what are you doing, what was the solution, if you have time. Okay. For programmers, documentation is the last thing to think about, but try to get into the habit of creating a README. Okay. The next part you will see, add a git ignore. For now, leave it. I'll go over this at some point. Okay. You don't need a license for now. Okay. And then we'll go ahead and create our repository. So once this comes back, what has happened is I have created a new repository, but it is still over here. It's on GitHub. Okay. I don't have a copy anywhere else. Okay. This is the first step. So this is the repo that we are going to work on if you're working on a project, but for now you guys are going to create your own repositories. But this is how you create a repository on GitHub. And now GitHub has given you space, created something for you. It's over here. Okay, this is where we are going to be pushing and pulling our code from. Okay, so right now this is over here. The next step would be to clone it. I want to bring this repository down to my computer. Okay, that would be the next step. So we are, if you see over here, you will see a clone button, right? So go ahead, and if you click this, it will give you a link. All right, go ahead and copy this, and this is what we are going to use to clone our repository to our local drive. Okay, now the first thing is, then we'll go back to our git bash or terminal in Microsoft. Oh, in Mac. Microsoft. All right, so I'm in the right folder where I want to clone the repository. Okay, the first command is git space clone, and the link that you just copied from there. Okay, this link is again from your GitHub. When you create a repository, it will generate a link for you. If you do not, this will only be generated once you create a repository. Okay, the first thing I'm going to do is do a git clone. That's the first command, git clone. So first is git clone and then a URL. Okay, this is the link that you get from your repository. Let's go ahead and enter. You will see it's going to go ahead, download, correct to this site. If this link is correct, it's going to go ahead, get this repo, and bring it down to your local computer. Okay, so let's go. I'm going to do a ls, and I should see my new repository. Okay, now this.
only work if you got your SSH key.
Yes, this is only going to work if you have your SSH key sorted out, at least in GitHub. You didn't. It's not working for you. Not yet. GitHub or GitLab?
Either one.
Neither one. Okay. Well, we can take a look at it. Okay. So you have cloned your repository. My folder is there, and this is where it is. Now this is the folder that is under the control of Git. It's not this one. Okay. Remember that. This is something that I was created at the beginning of the class. So I need to go inside this folder so I can make changes and all that stuff. So how do I do it? Change directory to cd hello world dash repo. Okay. Do a ls, and there's my readme. Why is there a readme? If you go to GitHub, you see there's a file over there. So it created a repository successfully, cloned it, and brought all the files down which are over there. Right now there's only one file called readme. Okay, so I cloned it, and then I am inside my folder over here. Okay, next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go to Visual Studio and open that folder. Open, no, this one, this is the one. Okay, and there's my readme. Okay, now over here I'm going to add some files that I'm going to add, commit, and push, and then it will come to my repository. All right, so let's go ahead and create a HTML. Okay. See, it kind of changed colors. This is the Visual Studio's kind of style, telling you that this is under Git, and you will see all these color changes. Okay. Again, Visual Studio has tools to push and everything, but don't worry about it. Don't use those right now. We'll be using the command lines. Okay. I'm going to create a web page quickly. Hello world. Okay. Create a h1, and then hello world. Okay. Format it. Everything looks good, and there's my web page. Let's make sure this is. Oh, it's already running. Let's stop this. And looks good. Okay, I have verified. I'm done with my changes. Now I need to go ahead and push them back. All right. The first thing is add. So git space add space dot. Okay. Dot is saying that go to this folder and find out anything, every file, and go ahead and add it. That's what add does. Right? Add space dot. You can specify files, but don't worry about that. Remember git space add space dot. Okay. So I'm going to do that first. All right. Everything is good. You shouldn't get any messages. The next is commit. So I'm going to say git space commit. Okay. And then you will see this flag -m. -m means message. All right. Every commit that you do has to have a message. Message means that what are you trying to push to the server? Like, what did you do, basically? It kind of tells other programmers, other engineers to see what happened and what did you push. So, for example, I'm going to say, and it has to be in double quotes, and you will say added new HTML file. Okay? So git commit -m and then a message. What am I trying to do? Enter. If everything is good, you will see kind of some messages, and it is saying what happened. What Git is kind of giving you some information. Basically, there's a file added and everything, and that's what's going to be pushed. Again, let's go back. I haven't pushed it, so that's why you shouldn't still see anything over here. Still, readme, no file, because still all the changes are still on my local computer. I haven't pushed it. Now comes the part which is git space push. Okay, is everything good? You will see it's going to go ahead, upload the files, going to give you some information. This is where the rejection and everything happens. If you see some error, this means it will kind of give you an error what's going on. For now, you won't see any errors because you are the only one working on it. Now, if you go to GitHub, refresh it, you will see your HTML file here. See this? All right. First thing, create a repository on GitHub, clone it, bring it down to your computer, add a HTML file and everything. Do a git add space dot, then git commit with a message. Okay, and then do a git push. So it's a git clone. Make some changes, add a HTML file, then do a git space add space dot, then git commit minus m, and then some message, and then git push. Okay. You'll be using these commands a lot, so get in the habit. It comes, you don't have to like remember, but the more you do it, it kind of ingrains itself in you, and then I've been using this a lot, so I kind of remember some of these. But the ones that I don't use often, I Google it and find, oh, what's the command? I know what to find, so it's okay. But these ones are the most used ones. Okay, so make sure you understand each step and follow through it. You miss anyone, it's not going to work. Okay, it has to be in this sequence, and this is how it will work. All right, any questions? Okay, so go ahead, open your computer, and I'll walk you through it one more time. So I'm going to go ahead and delete this one and then create it again. Settings. Repository. Hello world. Come on. Hello world. Yes. Okay. Go back here. CD space dot CD rm minus r the world. Yes. Oh, come on. Yes. Okay. All right. So we're going to go ahead and create a new repository. New. Okay. Give it a name. Hello world repo. Whatever you guys want to call it. Okay. Give it a description. This is test repo. Make it private. Make it public. Initialize it with a README, and then create a repository. Okay. Everybody good with this step? All right. Next, we are going to switch to Git Bash or terminal. We are going to clone this repository. So the link is going to be over here. Click this. This button over here will copy that link. And then the first thing is git clone and then paste the URL. Okay. Everything is good. It should come down to your logo. Okay. Now please remember, people get mistaken. When you clone it, it creates it's the same folder, but you're outside that folder. Remember that you are not inside that folder. People try to add files and try to do a commit and everything. This, I'm still outside my folder. I cloned it and it created a folder exactly what GitHub was, but I'm still outside it. Okay, you need to go inside that folder to do anything. And how do you do it? CD, hello world, repo, and now I'm inside that folder. Now you will go ahead and make changes, add your files in Visual Studio, open that folder, okay, and you will see this. All right, so go ahead, add or copy that HTML file that you had from the previous one, from the previous exercise. Either do that or create a new one, and then go ahead and add that. Okay. So you can copy the previous one. We'll do an exercise where you have to create a portfolio page in few minutes. And the what would be that you will have to upload that file. Yes. Do you have your SSH key and everything set up? That's a so remember what I said? One second before, I'll send you after because out of all these, only one folder is folder is
It's like,
go on and then copy that link.
so
So now it's
So I just put a URL here. Years. Yeah, so go back so this is like yeah, it's an empty repository. So what you might want to do there is like here, settings for this one. I just don't jump right. I would recommend creating a division and then bring there and that so you go scroll down and just repository. Repository.
Yeah, forget
Now, repository.
You guys able to push?
Yes.
Yes? It shows up on GitHub and everything?
Yep.
Alright.
Now you have a non-repository. So the reason that with the README is
So for those of you who were able to push and everything,
is a little bit different. So now you should own this one.
okay.
So let's say you had a code on your laptop that wasn't in a repository yet, but you wanted to put it in a repository. So you would create a brand new empty one, and then you put in your code, and then you basically you get command to.
Alright, so for those of you who were able to push and everything, this is the next exercise. Basically, you have to create a portfolio HTML page, create a repository, and then basically you are creating this page. Alright, HTML, look at it, and create this page, push it to your GitHub. Alright, the HTML page, and it should look like this. That's the exercise. For those of you who are able to push it. Alright, yes.
I'm going to get on the GitLab.
Yeah, so this means it didn't work. Yeah, do a git commit minus m, then it should. Git add drive.
This is like your home directory. This is
Oh, you had to
directory
come out of it.
dash. Start there.
You're in the repo.
This one, yes.
That's happened to show you.
Yeah.
Yeah, so when you were not inside of repository, you get those adding and stuff.
Now you can push it.
Yeah, I just had created a repository that was so I can about creating so then I can take it to the
Is it similar to LS?
yeah, so the actual it doesn't want to share the command service, so you have to go right click.
So I would just go through Explorer and
It's kind of
I remember.
Similar Explorer, find that file.
sorry,
It's in
yeah.
your
If I wanted to get rid of it, let's say, was that
yeah, RM minus R. Yeah. RM minus R, but not decay, just folder. So you're trying to delete the folder. RM minus R in the folder, not the log.
So that's it. Okay, now.
Yeah, that's just a URL.
Thank you.
Okay, so what we're trying to do right now here is next step. Now,
There's a problem. There's a problem.
now they're showing it. They only have add-on files. Let's say you get add documents everything outside of this one.
Oh, my first 16.
Yep, so this is asking you to write a message. Otherwise, I got it on my file. Yeah, yes, you should.
So I curated the repository and I cloned it, but now I'm trying to access it.
So you'll decide to get and then I believe you see the file input to start working.
So after we So this one right here, are we doing it on the profile? Okay, so not the
No. That was just a example. But yeah, because this is going to be the wall, and this will be actually a portfolio that you want to eventually publish it out.
So question, if we just put numbers, and then you're gonna add changes. Yeah.
No, not in this case, because you are the only one who's working. If you were working and he was working on the same one, then yes. For now, we can safely say nobody else has to be 60. But just for one practice, you will get a message saying, oh, nothing's. But yes, if more than one people are working, then definitely we need it. Right now, it's just individuals. Yes. Yes. No, you didn't.
Or say I add
Yes.
That was it. Thank you.
does it automatically?
It automatically does it for you. It shows you visually that, oh, these are, what it will do is basically the same. These are your changes and these are the incoming changes. How do you want to merge? So you can select out, you just yes, basically say, oh, I want this line, this line, this line. And eventually it will merge it.
So it automatically changes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, whatever. Yeah, it'll push the changes down. That's what the thing is. If you want to go out, it does.
Thank you.
We'll get near project one. We'll get to it because we have more people working on the same thing. But that's how it is. Yeah, we will get there. Yeah. Homework, yeah. That's why I uploaded on the first day. If you want to start homework without the lessons, or no, you can even submit it.
Yeah, I just pushed it on their own house.
Oh, you did it on your own? Alright, okay. Oh, you got like 3 weeks, 4 weeks ahead already. That's good.
Well, I just did it right now.
Yeah, you can. I've had students who do the homework before.
I think it's just.
Yes.
And you're not allowed to do so you can do either.
But I don't see it on the
So I just created a file with this.
Yeah, you need to. So delete it and
You're gonna want to put that. Yeah. Just so that it has something in there.
No, it doesn't exist. It's-
I spelled it wrong.
So, are you going to do the folder? Is it open? And then, so is it in class activities?
I saved it
Go right here. On this side. This is what it is.
Like make a file and see if you can push it back.
You can see the results.
Yeah, so you make like an issue.
So that's what I was saying, organization. It's embedded somewhere to get lost. Maybe create a desktop folder, a big one, and then say boot camp or something. And then make sure everything is inside that folder, which is on your desktop.
Yeah.
And within that folder have day one, activities or something like that. Something. Right now it's inside your user or something. It's kind of easy to get lost.
So if I create the classroom, the actual repository down from giving out this one, you can actually get control where it saves.
How do you get? Change direction, look at the direction, and then do a git commit. So CD into your desktop, and then CD into your class activities folder, and then do a git clone, then it's going to clone.
Okay.
So it always clones the path that is indicated on this left side. That's where it goes on this folder. If you want to clone it over here, that's what we do with CD and all that stuff. CD in this folder where you want to do it, and then do a git clone, it's going to save it.
You already made one? Yes.
This, yeah, that's all. Basically, it's to create and so you that's the idea. Okay. Yeah. So
She was asking if they need to make a new repository to put this stuff in.
Yeah.
Oh, they should make a brand new one as opposed
Yeah,
to like
yeah.
the Hello World one.
Yeah, no, yeah. Create a new one
Okay.
because this will eventually evolve to the real portfolio that they're going to always do it. So create a new one with. All right, so create a new one for this. Again, this is you can create as many repositories as you want. It's free, so just keep creating. For this one, create a repository called My Portfolio or Portfolio or something. Eventually, you will see as we go through the course, this will actually become like a real deal for you guys, and this is what you will host it, where everybody can access it and see it and all that stuff. So this is like the precursor. I would definitely create a new repository. Give it a better name like portfolio your name or something, my portfolio or something, some intelligent name. Bad thing about this is engineers are really bad at coming up with names. I can't come up with my variable name, so I'm like my variable, temp this, temp that. So come up with a good name and create a new repository. Okay, because if you put this in your hello world, and if I look at it, it's a hello world repository, it's not portfolio repository. So that's what I would think. So create a new one. Again, there's no restriction. Microsoft is taking care of the bill, so create as many repositories as you want. All right, so we are working on this one for a few more minutes, and then I'm going to talk about CSS and then end the class. So the important part is make sure everybody is able to at least push to GitHub. Extremely important because you will be submitting your homeworks on GitHub.
I know it's there. I've saved it. I viewed it online to see if there's something being done. So I just add commit push.
So yeah, get add. So it probably would when you're expecting to do the output. So you're saying, yeah. So it's fine. It's in the background. It'll list the changes that you can make. So. See the errors giving you? So you want the dash line is more. So the dash line is saying you can make the dash line. So it's expecting a message. That's why it's saying this. And the message has to be fixed. Yeah, it just means that you added 18 months.
No.
All right, we'll start in a minute or so, the last part, and then I'll give you time to come back to this activity and we'll complete it. But I just need to introduce CSS before I start. All right. All right. Give me a few more minutes. Let's cover the last topic, and then we'll come back to this activity and kind of finish off the class. Okay. All right. So the next topic is CSS. I'm just going to briefly introduce it to you guys so that you can update your portfolio page, make it a little bit nicer. Okay. All right. CSS is cascading style sheets. I do have a PowerPoint here. So again, if this has been uploaded, if you guys look at the PowerPoint at some point, I covered all the Git and everything. We are now at CSS. Okay. So CSS is, if you see the page kind of is kind of bland, it doesn't have any colors and all that stuff. CSS is what adds color and everything to it. Okay. This is the second, I wouldn't say it's a language, but this is the second part when we talk about web development. After HTML comes CSS. Okay. I'm going to show you 3 ways you can add CSS. And the first way, again, a little bit of biasness from my side. The first way is the worst way. Please don't do it. Second is not any better. Third is the one that I prefer, and that's how I code. Every time I get code reviews for front-end code, I'm kind of looking for those stuff. All right, let me show you. So the first thing is, if you're trying to add CSS to anything, pick up any HTML element, and the attribute is called style. Okay, style is for adding CSS to any element. All right, so you can add an attribute style and then add, I don't know, a background color. Let's try that. And then you can give some value to it. All right, you see this thing over here? Kind of adds that color. All right. Let's, I thought it was a semicolon. Nope. Semicolon, or was it? Right? It's making me type the whole thing out. I'm not used to this. Yeah. So you can add more styles. So, okay, this is called inline styling or inline CSS. Okay, please don't do it. Do not do inline styling. I hate it. All right, it kind of makes your code confusing. It's not good practice. This is just one property. You'll have more properties, and imagine your HTML code kind of surrounded with so many CSS. It's kind of hard to track what's going on. Okay, but this is called inline CSS, and you can use the attribute called style and add some of the CSS attributes over here. Okay, this is the first way. Again, don't do it. The second one is a little bit okay, but I still don't prefer it. In your head, you can have the same thing. There's a tag, HTML tag called style, and that's what you can put all your all your CSS inside that style. Okay, that's the second way to do it. Most of the, well, more often you will see some people kind of putting it over here. but there's a better way to do it. But let's go ahead and complete this. So if you are using the style, you would say h1. Let's suppose I'm trying to update my h1s, and I say background color is yellow. Okay, what happened to my this thing? I think I'm missing something. Try this again. Oh, there it is. I think it's auto reloading, so every time I make a mistake, it kind of crashes and doesn't want to open again. But okay, so what did I do over here? I took this H1. These are called selectors. Okay, in technical terms, these are called CSS selectors. Okay, and what this will do is, if you use an HTML element to style, it's going to style every single H1. So right now I only have one H1. If I have a second H1, you will see it's going to style this second H1 as well. Second H1. Okay, there's no escape from it if you are doing this. So be careful when you are styling this. For now, it's okay. But remember, if you are styling it like this, like putting an HTML element or using a CSS selector as an HTML element, it's going to style every single of these wherever you're using it. Alright, so anywhere you use H1 is going to have a background color. Okay, there are different ways. If you want individual, we'll get to it probably on Saturday, but I just want to give you an overview. Okay, the more important is, the first way was to do inline styling. The second way is you create a style tag, and please make sure this is inside your head tag, right? This style tag does not exist outside. It has to be inside your head container. Okay, and over here you can create as many uh, styles you want. So the next one, let's say I want to style my H2 also. So I'm going to say H2, and this time, let's say green. Okay, so my H2s are green. So you can keep styling as many properties, as many HTML elements you want. P tag, div tag, H1, any possible HTML element, you can style them. Okay, this is the second way. All right, I still don't like it. I don't prefer it. If there's I'm doing a code review for somebody and I have this code, I still kind of reject it. What I prefer is, if this is my HTML file, the only code in this file should be HTML. That's it. This is CSS. This is, again, you can put it over here. I want to separate everything. Okay. When we get to JavaScript, you can put JavaScript in this code also, somewhere over here. We'll see where, but I don't prefer that. Okay, it has to be in a separate file. The better way is you create a separate CSS file and then link that CSS file over here. Okay, how do we do it? I go here, create a new file, and let's call it style.css. You will see style.css. You can name it anything you want. But style is more like a convention. It kind of indicates that this is the styling for my HTML page. That's where the name comes from. Again, you can put it anything you want. Okay. In my CSS file, style.css, this is where I'm going to put all my CSS. Color, yellow. Font size, let's change it to, let's say 50 px. Okay, I'm just styling some of my these things over here. So I'm going to copy this, put it over here. Okay, and then I'm going to remove this from here so that you guys can see the styling kind of goes away. Okay, now I have a CSS file and I have a HTML file, but they're not linked, right? I have the style, but you can see it doesn't load over here. Why? Because there's no linkage between the HTML over here, doesn't know anything about this CSS. Okay, so we need to link it, right? And the tag to link it is actually called link. Okay, link tag, attribute, relationship. or what it is saying is the thing that comes over here is a style sheet. Okay, that's how it's going to render. Okay, href is the link to your style.css. Okay. Oops. I linked my href. I said CSS. Again, for now, just remember since these both are in the same folder, you can just type in the name, and that's why it works, right? There's the path, and you guys will see a little bit more advanced how to link those things, but we'll see that on Saturday. For now, if both your CSS and your HTML are inside the same folder, same path, all right, you just say href style.css, and Visual Studio is really good about it. It will help you. You saw that I'm kind of gotten lazy in typing. So you see it kind of helps me. So if it is helping you, this means you're on the right path. If it doesn't show up, then that I would worry about it. Why is it not showing up? Okay, right? So strive for being a lazy programmer, right? I still see people typing CD. I'm like, press tab, press tab, press tab. All right, get into the habit of it. Right. So this is what I prefer. But you see how clean this is, right? I just have one link over here, and this is all HTML. There's no CSS at all. Everything CSS is over here. That's where it belongs. Okay, it's good practice. A lot of the homeworks or activity, the solutions you will see are in the different way. They kind of, I think they put all this style over here or something. Okay, but let's be good engineers. Those are like stock solutions that we get, and those kind of get uploaded. But be smart about it. Go ahead and give it a try. Take those styles out, create in a different file, and kind of link those files together and see how it works. Okay, it's good to start on the right foot. Follow the standards so it will be easier once you get out in the industry. Okay, usually you will see, but not usually, most of the time you will see these files are separate. All right, we'll look at JavaScript also. I don't want my JavaScript or my CSS cluttering my HTML code. All right, I like to keep everything separate, and you will see this. Okay, so the first way was inline styling. Don't do it. The second way is it's still okay. You can put your style tag over here and do the same thing. I would prefer and get in the habit linking these files. Create style.css. Okay, put all your CSS over here. Okay. Right now we just looked at one CSS. Basically what it is we can put any HTML tag and kind of style it. Okay. Image tag, p tag, div tag, whatever you want. You can put it like this. Again, there's no dot, there's no hash, nothing, and this will style each one of these tags in your code. Okay, remember that. You don't have a choice to kind of override it right now. If you do it like this, each H1 will have a background of yellow. Okay. On Saturday, you will see if you just want this one to be yellow, but this one a different color, there are ways to do it. For now, it's already ending, so I want to make sure that you understand the basic of CSS. And then there are properties, background color. You will learn more about margins and all this stuff, but those are all the properties that CSS has. The main point right now is how do you create a CSS? Okay, use a link tag, link your CSS, and this is how you write your CSS. Okay, all right. Any questions? Yes.
For the link, does it have to be in the header? It doesn't matter where it's at, like on top or bottom of all.
No, yeah, it doesn't. Yeah, it's as long as the header. Usually you will see it's after the title, but it doesn't matter.
Okay, as long as it's in the header.
Yeah, it has to be the header. Yeah. Yes.
So after you link the style CSS, can you go further down below the head and still add
Yes.
CSS header?
Yeah. Yeah. So the question is, if I have linked it and I still go ahead and write some CSS over here. Let's say I do. Okay, can I still do it? Yes, but please see what happened. This one got loaded, it was yellow. How HTML works, it goes line by line. The first line, first, second, third, like this. It went over here, saw this, went to this, loaded all the styles. Okay, this is done. Then it came over here, it found a new style. It overrode this one. So anything that comes later will override the previous one. Okay? You stole my thunder. This was for the next class, but I'm telling you. All right. So the first thing that comes first will load first, and then the next one will be loaded. And this kind of overrides it because I'm using the same property that is defined over here, so it kind of overrides the property. Okay? Good question. No, I'll leave that. All right. What else? Okay. So no questions. So then the next exercise is you guys were working on the portfolio. The next one is just adding CSS to it and see if you can get to. Let's see. So the TAs will flag this out. I'm trying to see if there's a. Yeah, there it is. Okay. So if you created from the previous one, this one is kind of adding CSS, kind of adding colors in this. Give it a try, see if you can get to it. I'll upload the solution later on and you guys can see it, but definitely please go ahead and give it a try. Look at W3 School, see how the CSS is built. The first one is, if you haven't done the previous one, please do the previous one. And for that, I think it was looking something like this. Yeah. First start with this. This has no CSS. Once this is complete, then go ahead and try the CSS, add some CSS color. Again, this is just for you guys. Okay, you don't have to have this exact. This is going to be our portfolio. You want to change the color, font, you want this in a different way, totally up to you. Okay, there's no restriction. This is just to get people like me who cannot imagine things. I don't have an aesthetic sense. So it's kind, I see something, I can do it. But if you ask me to do it, I'm like, I don't know, show me some mock or something. I don't know what to do. Right? So this is for people like me. But you can totally go ahead, change this, change the font, whatever you want to do. Okay? It's a good practice. So give it a try. Again, all GitHub. When you do this, okay, this is one repository like portfolio, right? You can use the same repository for this one because this is the same code, and then now you're going to add CSS, right, to it. So you don't have to create a new repository. Whatever you have for here, this is the next step to it. Okay. In other classes, you will see we will be keep coming back to this portfolio. This is eventually going to evolve in something that you would be sharing on your LinkedIn when you're networking or something. Once it is deployed to a hosting website, this is your thing. Okay, you will be uploading your projects over here, kind of giving, you see the GitHub link over here. So once you complete your homeworks or your projects, you will be going ahead and linking those projects over here so that somebody can look at your portfolio and say, oh, this guy has worked on this. You can click over here and everything works. This is just the first step. A lot of people, especially who have more experience with HTML, CSS, they just go crazy on it. It's perfectly fine. I've seen some really fancy ones, right? Even I couldn't do it. I was like, wow, that's super nice. Okay, so this is going to be our page. Work on it. This is a starting point, and kind of evolve this into this using CSS. Okay, some of these things would be difficult. The way they are kind of doing it. Okay, give it a try. It should still be okay. But we have some more advanced CSS on Saturday that's going to blow your mind. Super crazy. All right. So work on this. All right. Last thing, announcement. I don't know. Fortunately or unfortunately, I'm not here this Saturday. I'm on a vacation. I wasn't supposed to be taking this class, or there were some changes, and now I have to do every Saturday. But that's okay. I've sorted it out. So the next this Saturday, I had already planned to be off, but there's going to be a substitute teacher. His name is Matt. All right. Saturday's class is difficult. I'm not even joking. It's super difficult. It's probably the hardest class till now we have, and it's all on CSS. You're going to look at some advanced CSS like floating and all this crazy stuff. It's already difficult. All right. So we are all responsible adults. Please make sure you are concentrating in the class. Close your laptop, whatever it takes you to focus in the class. Right. Again, every instructor has their own style. People come to me, they're like, oh, I didn't get it. This is the way they taught it. But this is the situation, right? I'm not here. We have to deal with it. All right. So make sure you guys are here. Ask good questions. The TAs are here. They're extremely helpful. Don't understand, sit back or come early. 9:15 to 10 is office hours on Saturday. 10 o'clock. 10 o'clock the class starts. Goes up to 2, but you'll get lunch break. 45 minutes or 1 hour depending on where the course is, but usually I give like 45 minutes, start at noon to noon 45. Okay, so you'll have a lunch break in the between. Okay. Um, Otherwise, I'll see you guys on Tuesday. Okay. All right. Thank you. Continue on this until 9:30. I'm here until 10. GitHub issues. Please make sure you have resolved, especially GitHub and then GitLab also, because you guys will be pulling